Finally, moving ahead to our next sort of things we're doing in this unit. We are going to have a paper assigned. It's going to be due next week, and the paper is going to be a little bit different than the exploratory paper. What I'm basically just going to ask you to do is more of taking all the units we've done so far and kind of put them together in this one paper. So the rubric, I've tried to make the rubric a little bit more specific and prescriptive, so hopefully you can really just follow it and see where we're going with it. But what you're going to be basically doing is using systematic reviews, etc., to find two different types of observational studies. Basically around the same topic. So pick a general topic that you can find two different types of studies. So one case control, one cohort study, one case study, etc. And kind of when you find those two studies, all I want you to do is basically a summary of those two studies. So you don't have to give your impression or your opinion or anything like that on these studies. The other thing is that the peer evals will be done this year. This time they are going to be randomly assigned via Canvas. So I am not manually assigning this. That means you could be reading a paper in an area that is not in your wheelhouse. You don't really have a lot of information about, but that's okay because the paper should just be a summary of the two studies, so you might actually learn a little bit more. And part of being in this program is developing a breadth of knowledge. We always worry about depth of knowledge, but we're going to have a little bit more breadth of kinesiology, health sciences, etc. So that's never a bad thing. So as you read the rubric and get comfortable, we're going to ask you to do a little bit more background work, taking through the other units, etc. There will be another reading that I want you to do on how to evaluate observational studies. I had you look over the strobe. The strobe is very similar to the Prisma. It's a guideline, but it should not be used to assess it. And the article I have you read for this week will actually talk more about that. And what it is actually a systematic review, which reviewed a whole bunch of different assessment tools out there for observational studies. So again, you're going to have to kind of read that systematic review, pull out a couple assessment tools, find your own observational studies, etc. So this is really a good exercise for you to get used to going through the literature, finding different articles, appraising them, and seeing how they fit into your discipline, your profession. For the EDD students or the master students, this will be really good practice for you when you start looking at your dissertation. You have a good idea. How do you find more topics on it? How you can go for a reference list, pull various topics, see the good studies from the poor studies, etc. For those who are not doing a master's thesis or a dissertation, this is just good practice on how to further improve your professional practice. So, have any questions, comments, concerns? Always email me. Always available to talk to you guys. And then we'll be moving forward going into the last couple of weeks, and that's going to be observational going into relational studies. So look forward to hearing from you. Good luck, and I will check in next week.